Our job here is simple. We take the things you're curious about. Sometimes it's a dense report, but today it's a fantastic new fiction romance book. And we just, pull out the most vital insights so you walk away informed and, hopefully, entertained.
And today we are absolutely immersing ourselves in the holiday spirit, but with some serious stakes. We're doing a completely spoiler-free deep dive into Audrey Stone's new book, The Winter We Fell.
Right.
And this isn't just, tinsel and hot cocoa. This is a masterclass in high-level professional conflict, deep reverence for history, and some truly laugh-out-loud banter.
That blend is what makes it so special.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission today is to explore the magnetic, high-stakes setting and really unpack that core conflict between the two main characters that fuels their incredible dialogue.
Yeah, and we have to talk about how the author uses this local legend to give the romance some genuine emotional depth.
Exactly. This is a deep dive into character, community, and the surprising need to tell the truth.
Okay, so let's start with the setting, the geography and the economy, because in this book, they are completely linked. The story is set in Havenbrook, England.
It's a fictional coastal town.
Right, and you can immediately feel that inspiration from places like Cornwall, that sort of blend of rugged coastline, working harbors, old historic architecture. It feels real.
It sounds so idyllic, but what the book sets up so fast is that this beauty is, it's masking a huge problem. You have these amazing historical layers, the old fishermen's cottages, the grand Victorian mansions.
And right next to them, you have these progressive elements, like a marine science university and eco-friendly housing projects.
So it's a town that's kind of caught between his past and a very, very uncertain future.
Precisely. And that uncertainty is all about a really urgent economic downturn. Havenbrook invested heavily in a bypass that was supposed to bring in money.
But it did the opposite.
It sucked the life right out of the high street. So the town is basically running on fumes, and everything rides on one massive event.
So the annual Christmas festival, they call it the Frozen Harbor Festival, it isn't just a fun tradition. It's an existential moment for the whole community.
It has to be a monumental success. It needs to bring in enough money and attention to save the town's businesses. And that ticking clock, that financial pressure, just infuses the entire romance with this sense of urgency.
It raises the emotional temperature immediately. And into this pressure cooker steps our heroine, Leah Shimoni.
She is the ultimate professional, an international event wrangler, a consultant. We find out she has a Swiss and French background and this legendary ability to just swoop in and execute a total reboot.
Her resume is kind of insane. The book mentions her pulling off the Strasbourg Christmas parade with, 6 days' notice?
With only one minor electrical incident, yes. She's enthusiastic, she's ruthlessly organized, and she is the absolute embodiment of the outsider coming to save the locals from themselves.
And her goal is pretty straightforward. She wants to take Havenbrook's core local asset, this silver dancer legend, and elevate it.
Exactly. Turn it from a quaint local story into a marketable experience. She's all about tourism metrics, sponsorship decks, optimizing flow.
And right there is where the story pivots.
Yeah. It
It stops being a simple fish-out-of-water story and becomes about this necessary conflict, because she immediately clashes with the one person managing the most vital asset in town.
The ice rink.
The ice rink.
Yeah.
And that person is Jax Mitchell, the head of the Havenbrook Tourism Partnership.
This is just the perfect collision of forces. Jax Mitchell is introduced to us as the Zamboni driving history nerd.
I love that description.
It's perfect, right? His family has operated that rink since the 1950s. He is fiercely protective of Havenbrook's traditions, its history, which he sees as genuine and valuable, not something to just be packaged up and sold.
So he is the history of the town, and Leah represents the future of marketing. What's so great is that their attraction is matched only by their professional animosity.
He gives us that great classic rom-com trope, enemies to lovers. But it's driven by a genuine clash of worldviews.
And that clash gives us some truly spectacular dialogue. The author does such a good job of establishing Leah's professional detachment, right away.
Oh, yeah.
When she first arrives, she's standing on the steps, absolutely freezing, and her internal monologue is just gold. She's convinced her reputation is riding on her willingness to freeze various body parts off in some godforsaken market town at Christmas.
You can just feel her misery and professionalism battling it out right there. It's so relatable.
And the banter is just so sharp. The tourism director, Crispin, asks if she found the station okay.
Yeah.
And Leah just drops this perfectly dry counter.
What was it?
Only lost circulation in my left toes. Nothing major. She's already sizing up the amateurism around her.
But then she meets Jax, and he doesn't even try to hide his suspicion of her. His greeting is just immediate passive aggression, something like, "You're early." Or is it late, depending on which part of the world you're saving? It's magnificent. He sees her as a corporate vulture. But Leah is a total pro, so she doesn't fight him with emotion. She fights him with structure. When Jax tries to pull rank, calling himself a local treasurer who knows
She
everything,
doesn't even flinch.
not at all. She just scribbles in her notepad and says, "Perfect. I prefer primary sources."
Treating him like a dusty old scroll. That's brilliant. She immediately categorizes him as a resource to be exploited, not a partner to be consulted.
Exactly. And the description of Jax is what sticks with you, that he's stubborn as hell, but that this is said with a forced note of affection from the town council. Like, everyone knows this about him.
It's his brand.
It is. And Leah realizes her job is to somehow defeat this grumpy Zamboni-driving history nerd who didn't believe in fairy tales. The energy is just electric because they're both smart and they both think they're right.
And that's the key, right? The tension isn't manufactured. It's driven by genuinely opposing but, equally valid professional ideologies. History versus marketing.
Yeah, if one of them gave up easily, the whole story would fall apart. But because every single conversation is so charged, their eventual emotional connection feels incredibly hard-earned.
And that connection is nurtured and also challenged by the whole community around them.
We should probably talk about the supporting cast, because they aren't just there for comic relief.
Oh, absolutely not. They actively ground this whole ideological struggle.
Right, because when Leah arrives, she's trying to sell a vision to an entire town, and that town is ready to judge her. So who's around to witness this battle? Does the town take sides?
They absolutely do, and they hold both Leah and Jax accountable. We have Nina Ashford, the fabulous costume shop owner at Ashford and Daughter.
I love Nina.
She immediately becomes Leah's local confidant and kind of the chief gossip columnist. She's dressed in gold Doc Martens and a floor-length dressing gown when she meets her.
And greets her with that iconic line, "You're just the plot twist."
Yes. It immediately frames Leah's role in the whole narrative. She isn't just a manager, she's the catalyst for change. Then there's Yara Petrovich, the ice dance coach.
So intense. A former Croatia national medalist, and she has zero tolerance for soft launches or half measures. She represents the high standard of performance they actually need to pull off Leah's vision.
And she's fiercely protective of her skaters.
Especially one of them, Amaya Tannington, the junior figure skater chosen to be the new silver dancer. She really represents the future Jax is trying to protect and the success Leah needs to secure.
So you have the town's creatives and athletes, but then you also have the corporate side, the pressure.
A lot of pressure. You have Counselor Ode Menon, who supports Leah's vision because she gets the need for modernization. But then there's Crispin Vale, that over-the-top tourism director who only sees numbers.
And the PR consultant, Layla Fox.
The shark. She only cares about trending content and getting influencers to post. She's the pure commerce side of the argument.
So the town has way too many cooks, and they're all arguing over the main ingredient, the silver dancer legend itself.
And this is where the book really deepens its theme. The public legend, the one on the brochures, is the miracle frieze of 1847. It's this beautiful mythologized story of a dancer bringing hope and unity when the harbor froze over.
It's PR perfection.
Of course. And that's exactly what Leah is trying to maximize, but Jax knows the painful truth.
He does. He reveals that the legend is actually a heavily sanitized memorial.
A memorial for the people who died when the ice broke during that freeze, including his own ancestor, Hester Mitchell. So he isn't guarding a fun myth, he's guarding a painful, deeply personal tragedy.
Wow. That's a huge tonal shift. How does the author manage to pivot from that light, witty banter we were just talking about to something with such profound emotional stakes? Does it feel like whiplash?
It really doesn't, because the banter always hinted at this deeper ideological divide. The shift works because it makes Jax's broody, protective nature completely understandable. It's not just him being inconvenient.
It gives it context.
A ton of context. His entire motivation is rooted in honoring the dead and preventing that tragedy from being turned into a circus or a glittery lie for tourist dollars. His reluctance is history. Leah's enthusiasm is commerce.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, the romance works because it's no longer just about a professional spat. It's about two people realizing the real conflict isn't between them.
Right. It's between authenticity and spectacle.
They have to find a shared vision that honors the past while actually securing a future for Havenbrook.
And this conflict, both professional and emotional, it comes to a head, naturally in a disaster.
Of course it does.
Jack's trying to manage the rink's structural issues all by himself because he's terrified the council would just bulldoze the historic asset if they knew the truth. He conceals a critical pipe failure.
So the very thing he was trying to protect is what causes the collapse.
It does. The ice fails. Spectacularly. During the press preview, no less. It's the tipping point that forces both Leah and Jax to stop fighting each other and look at the real immediate crisis.
The failure of the ice is also the failure of their original approaches.
Exactly. Jax's insistence on holding the past captive and Leah's reliance on corporate gloss. Both fail.
So the disaster forces them to shed their professional armor and finally use their skills together instead of against each other.
Absolutely. They realize they can't run from the incident, and they can't fix it with the old plan, so they collaborate on a new, much more authentic vision, the honest hope approach.
I like that. Honest hope.
Instead of trying to paper over the disaster, they commit to telling the true story of resilience and remembrance.
That's such a powerful moment of redemption for both of them. Leah's corporate event planning skills are suddenly repurposed for authentic storytelling. She uses her logistical genius not for spin, but for creating an event that truly honors the community's painful history.
And it pays off so beautifully. Jax learns that trusting an outsider can be the only way to save the things he holds dear. And Leah, who is used to just moving on to the next crisis city, she realizes she doesn't want to run away.
They find a home.
They both choose to stay and rebuild Havenbrook, based on this newfound commitment to truth and community. The resolution is about finding a home and finding purpose, not just finding love.
That really is the genius of the book. It's a holiday romance that respects the weight of history and delivers authentic, profound emotional growth right alongside all the festive fun. It uses that urgent, high-stakes community drama as the engine that drives the character transformation.
You get the sharp, witty dialogue that keeps you laughing, but the eventual resolution earns every tear and every emotional beat. It's exactly what fans of the enemies to lovers trope look for, but it's elevated by the thematic weight of saving an entire town.
I think this book really leaves you with something to chew on long after you finish the final page. It poses a pretty important question. In a world so dominated by PR and corporate spin, is a story worth telling if it isn't completely true?
And what happens when the person you're fighting with is the only one who truly sees you and the core truth you were trying to protect?
It's a surprisingly deep and moving look at what it means to honor the past while building a future.
It really is.
If you are looking for that perfect blend of history, humor, and high-stakes romance this holiday season, you can find The Winter We Fell by Audrey Stone and the rest of the Havenbrook Christmas Romance series by visiting silvergravitybooks.com.
Dive into Havenbrook. You'll be glad you did.
That wraps up this deep dive. We'll see you next time.